All right, people said I at least had to make this a trilogy, so welcome to part 3 of fact-checking 10 lies you were told about Islam. All Time Tens is an enormously popular YouTube channel with more than 4 million subscribers, so you'd assume that they know what they're doing and that they're pretty careful about their top 10 lists. But as we saw in the first 2 parts, if you gave these guys a penny for their thoughts, they'd have to give you a refund. Listen to this All Time Tens narrator respond to the claim that ISIS represents Islam.
In reality, ISIS is not just un-Islamic, it is anti-Islamic. And in the first 8 months of 2015, ISIS was responsible for the deaths of over 9,000 Muslims in Iraq alone.
So ISIS is not only un-Islamic, it's anti-Islamic. Why? Because ISIS has killed lots of Muslims. What's the unstated rule here? If you kill Muslims, you can't be a real Muslim. Okay, pop quiz. What kind of Muslims does ISIS kill? Do they kill A, Muslims they regard as upstanding, faithful, devout servants of Allah? Or B, Muslims they regard as hypocrites and apostates? The correct answer is B, as in, boy, All Time Tens has some really stupid writers. Why do we need to point out that ISIS kills Muslims they regard as hypocrites and apostates? Well, because All Time Tens is under the delusion that Islam condemns killing any kind of Muslims in any situation, and that's sheer nonsense. But don't take my word for it. Surah 9 verse 73 of the Quran says, "O Prophet, strive hard against the unbelievers and the hypocrites and be unyielding to them, and their abode is hell, and evil is the destination." The word for strive hard in this verse is a form of the word jihad. Allah commands Muhammad to wage jihad not only against unbelievers, non-Muslims, but also against hypocrites, people who claim to be Muslims but aren't really obeying Allah and Muhammad. Can you think of any groups that are waging jihad against unbelievers and hypocrites and are unyielding to them? I certainly can, but All Time Tens insists that anyone who obeys Allah's command to wage jihad against hypocrites isn't a real Muslim. What about apostates? In Sahih al-Bukhari 69:22, Muhammad proclaims, "Whoever changed his Islamic religion, kill him." Now, when we think of apostasy, we think of someone renouncing his religion. But the Muslim sources are filled with warnings about doing things that show you're not a real Muslim. For instance, Surah 4 verse 65 of the Quran says that if you have any resistance against Muhammad's decisions, you're not a real Muslim. The verse reads, "But know, by your Lord, they can have no faith until they make you, O Muhammad, judge in all disputes between them and find in themselves no resistance against your decisions and accept them with full submission." Do you see the massacre starting to brew? Muhammad orders his followers to kill apostates, and the Quran says that if you find any resistance against Muhammad's decisions, you're an apostate. Put those together and you've got an ISIS-style bloodbath on your hands. And Muhammad's closest companions launched an ISIS-style bloodbath when people in the Muslim community found resistance against his decisions. When Muhammad died, certain Muslims refused to pay zakat, alms in Islam, to the administration of Abu Bakr, the first of the rightly guided caliphs. Abu Bakr said that if they don't pay their zakat the way Muhammad taught, they're apostates. Sahih al-Bukhari 72:84. Narrated Abu Hurairah, when Allah's messenger died and Abu Bakr was elected as a caliph after him, some of the Arabs reverted to disbelief. Notice that the passage says that these people reverted to disbelief. It turns out that the people discussed in this passage simply weren't paying their zakat properly, and this was enough to put them in the apostate category. Umar said to Abu Bakr, "How dare you fight the people?" while Allah's messenger said, "I have been ordered to fight the people till they say, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. And whoever says La ilaha illallah saves his wealth and his life from me, unless he deserves a legal punishment justly, and his account will be with Allah." So Umar's objection is that Muslims aren't supposed to kill fellow Muslims. Sound familiar, All Time Tens? Abu Bakr said, "By Allah, I will fight him who discriminates between zakat and salat, prayers, for zakat is the compulsory right to be taken from the wealth. By Allah, if they refuse to give me even a tying rope, which they used to give to Allah's messenger, I would fight them for withholding it." Abu Bakr's response to Umar is, we can't discriminate between zakat, alms, and salat, prayers. In other words, if someone stops praying the 5 daily prayers, we recognize that he's no longer a Muslim, but the same prophet who told us to pray also told us to pay zakat. So if someone refuses to pay zakat, he's an apostate, and even though we're not supposed to kill good Muslims, we are supposed to kill apostates. That's when Abu Bakr launched what are called the apostate wars, cleansing the Muslim community of hypocrites and apostates. Can you think of any Muslim groups today who are trying to cleanse their lands of hypocrites and apostates? I can, and it's no coincidence that the leader of the most familiar of these groups gave himself the name Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the Abu Bakr of Baghdad. So Abu Bakr killed Muslims he regarded as hypocrites and apostates, but the violence in the early Muslim community didn't stop there. Never stopped. Abu Bakr's daughter Aisha, famous for being Muhammad's child bride, eventually led an army against Ali, the fourth of the rightly guided caliphs. Their armies clashed at what's known as the Battle of the Camel. Now think about this. Muhammad gave Aisha the title Mother of the Faithful. Muhammad gave Ali the title Commander of the Faithful. The Mother of the Faithful led an army against the Commander of the Faithful, and around 10,000 Muslims died in bloody combat. Perhaps all-time tens will try to convince us that Abu Bakr and Aisha and that entire first generation of Muslims weren't really Muslims. But what does Muhammad say? Sahih Muslim, 6470. The Messenger of Allah was asked, "Which of the people are best?" He said, "My generation, then those who come after them, then those who come after them." Sahih Muslim 6478. A man asked the Prophet, "Which people are best?" He said, "The generation to whom I was sent, then the second, then the third." What's the best generation of Muslims? According to Muhammad, the first generation. But the first generation of Muslims almost annihilated itself by butchering one another as hypocrites and apostates. And yet the brilliant scholars of Islam over at All Time Tens, along with politicians and reporters around the world, tell us that ISIS isn't Islamic because ISIS kills Muslims whom they happen to regard as hypocrites and apostates. Well, I'm sick of arguing, so I'm just going to grant what All Time Tens and President Obama and Prime Minister Cameron say. If you kill Muslims of any kind, you're not a Muslim. But let's follow this claim through to the logical conclusion. The first generation of Muslims killed Muslims, so the first generation of Muslims weren't really Muslims. And Muhammad said that those Muslims were the best Muslims ever. If the best Muslims ever weren't even Muslims, then there are no Muslims and Islam is a dead religion. So, in their effort to rescue Islam from criticism, All Time Tens ends up obliterating Islam and insulting all Muslims. Great job, All Time Tens. Remind me never to get on your good side.